Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we're going to have a little chat about the new Combat Patrol boxes and how they stack up to start collecting boxes in terms of what you get in them, how much they're going to cost versus the old way of doing things, because these are now the new standard by the look of things. And to be honest, my initial thoughts are that whilst they do seem to be more expensive, £85 is what the kind of commonly accepted price is for these new boxes, they also seem to just flat out be a better way to introduce people because they're more consistent, or at least I hope as we go along that they will turn out to be more consistent. So just have a quick look at the article talking about them. So as you see, Combat Patrol's an army in a box. This Saturday sees the first ever Combat Patrol boxes go on pre-order for Warhammer 40k. And today we're taking a closer look at these exciting new ways to start an army. And by today, I mean 2 days ago this article came out. Things are weird. It's fine. We got there in the end. So that's the contents of the Space Wolves one. So you've got your Reavers there, or Hounds of Mordkai. No, Reavers, just normal Reavers. I think you've got some Intercessors, you've got your Battle Leader, and you've got an Invictor Warsuit. And there's also a Death Watch one as well. Again, looks like Intercessors, Aggressors, an Apothecary, and a Lieutenant. So, you know, decent spread of units there. The Space Wolves one, a little bland and not all that Space Wolfy in my personal opinion. But then again, if it's Intercessors and Reavers, there's only so much you can do to those because they're Intercessors and Reavers. Now, what they've said here is that for a long time, the start collecting boxes have been a great way to begin a Warhammer 40,000 army or to add to an existing one. That's something I mostly agree with, but it very much depended on what army you had or what army you were starting as to whether I would describe them as a great way. There's some severe inconsistencies with those boxes that we'll talk about in a minute or two. Now as new codexes and codex supplements come out, they will start to be replaced with Combat Patrol boxes instead. So it's an entire army in a box. Each one contains a complete Combat Patrol-sized force of 25 power or 500 points. That makes them perfect for getting them started with the smaller size games of Warhammer 40k, so on and so forth. You know the drill, usual marketing spiel, but that's the kind of gist of it. These are a set amount of stuff there. 25 points, 500 power. That is what Combat Patrol is. That's what these boxes are going to be. And of course, they do the usual thing of giving you ideas as to how to expand your boxes. So you've got your Space Wolf and Death Watch options there. They're interestingly pushing Grey Hunters and, of course, pushing Hounds of Mordkai because they're the new things. And actually pushing Kill Team Cassius as well, which is nice to see. Non-primary stuff getting a little bit of a shove back into the spotlight for this article. Now, in terms of how these boxes work, if they are 25 power / 500 points, and that is the standard, that is what you get every single time, and they can maintain that price of about 85 quid, I think that's a decent swap for the start collecting stuff. The start collecting boxes are decent enough, and they are a fine way to get into the hobby if you go that route. But they are massively inconsistent. They are like wildly inconsistent. I think the lowest value box, if I remember correctly, is the Demons of Slaanesh box, which is like 260 points or something. That's hardly anything. That's not enough to do anything with. By contrast, the Chaos Space Marines one, that has got all the stuff from I've forgotten the name of the box. The big box that had all of the new Chaos Space Marines. It's got the Obliterators. It's got the metal cover sorcerer dude. The Venom Crawler as well, the Greater Possessed, that box, that's like 630 points or something like that. Or at least it was when I found an article listing all those things on Goonhammer. That's a little bit out of date now due to FAQs and so on, but still, that's a vast difference. Some of those boxes have 100 to 200 more points worth of model in them than others, and they're all roughly the same price, anywhere between 55 to 65 pounds. And in that way, they're not good. The start collecting boxes, in that sense, are kind of naff. They do not provide an even playing field for everyone who wants to start a particular army. A Combat Patrol box is a way better idea because it directly ties into a specific type of game within the rulebook. It specifically ties into 25 power or 500 points. That's way more consistent by far than, either 265 or 260 points, or maybe 350 points, or 413 points, or, it's a lot more easy to measure, easy to work out, and it provides that solid, base level of, here you go, you've got your Combat Patrol, you can then expand it out with this, that, and the other. Whereas with the other boxes, that not quite so easy. Things like the Thousand Suns box is a decent box, except it's got a named character in it. Now, with a bit of converting, you can make it just a normal sorcerer out of Ahriman if you wanted, or if you wanted to go a bit niche, have one on disc and one on foot. But still, that's kind of... It's not great having a unique character you can only have one of in a box that, if you were to buy multiple times, should provide you with decent value in building up an army. Hopefully they don't do that with these combat patrols. I prefer to see them do generic HQs as opposed to named HQs, because it, increases the chance of being able to use the box multiple times. Overall, the increase in price isn't ideal. That's, I think, fair to say every time there's an increase in price. It's not great that things keep going up, and it doesn't seem to be stopping at any particular point. But is that the price to pay for consistency? Is everything going to be 85 if that turns out to be the locked-in final price for these two boxes at least, the Deathwatch and Space Wolves ones? If that is the cost for every single combat patrol, then to be honest, I think I'd be okay with it, because again, it would be a level, even playing field. You want to get 500 points of Orcs? It's going to cost you the same as someone who wants to get 500 points of Space Marines. You want to get 500 points of Khorne Demons? Okay, that's going to cost you exactly the same as someone who wants to get 500 points of Tau. Actually, having that level playing field when you start out, I genuinely think would be pretty helpful and pretty useful, especially for newer players. Not just for newer players, for people who want to branch out into other armies. Again, having that thing of, if you buy a Combat Patrol box, you're going to pay this much, and you're going to get this number of points. That is a way better system than this kind of sliding scale thing that we had with the Start Collecting boxes, where some were like 55, some are 65, but some are 300 points and some are 400 points, and anything in between, or over, or under that, in fact. Overall, I think it's a decent move to make. I think it will make things a lot easier. I think it will make things a lot more tolerable when it comes to starting a new force through that route. Instead of having to rely on like a Christmas big battle force or something like that, if there is a consistent entry point into the game for every single faction, where if you spend this much, you are getting this number of points, much better system. Now, the issue that I can potentially see us having with this, or me having anyway, is if the price varies significantly. If you want 500 points of Orcs, if that actually costs £95 instead of £85, that's something I think they should be pretty firm on and keep consistent from box to box. Again, these things exist kind of outside of your standard ecosystem within 40k when it comes to things like HQs being 25 quid, but troops also being 25 to 30 quid or whatever. That's, once you're in, once you've had that big discount to start off, that's where they start hitting you with stuff that is exorbitantly expensive in comparison to the small amount, relatively, that you pay to get into the hobby. They really, for this, I think, should try and keep everything consistent so that you are paying the same amount for the same number of points across all the factions. I think it'd be a more reliable way of getting people hooked if they can look at stuff and go, okay, well, they're all this amount of money for this number of points / this amount of power, therefore it doesn't matter what I pick. It doesn't actually matter. I can pick whatever I like because I'm starting off on the same playing field as everyone else. I'm on the same level footing as everyone else who's starting this, so it doesn't matter. I can just go for whatever I want. And of course, if you go for the thing you really want as opposed to the thing that is the best value, you're more likely to stick with it and actually do more with it than just go, well, I wanted Demons of Slaanesh, but I can't play a game with anyone because my Start Collecting box is like half the points of the one that my friend got, or half the points of a required amount to play a particular type of game. It's just going to be better for keeping people invested and keeping people buying more. Overall, good move. I think we just need to keep an eye on it and see what happens in terms of price. If it is consistent all the way, perfect. If it's not consistent, well, I think that's a completely missed opportunity and would kind of defeat the point of switching out from Start Collecting to begin with. Having the points be consistent is good. Having the price be consistent, I think, would be, if anything, just as important as that, to be honest. Question is, what do you reckon? Good move? Bad move? Think it's the right way to go? Think that they have potential here to do something to actually make everything start off really nice and level? Or do you reckon that there's a good chance they'll mess around with the pricing and it'll end up being uneven and weird as it is with the Start Collecting stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like. Don't click it if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Gamers, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.